So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. We're going to just take a couple of minutes whilst everybody starts to join. What you might like to do is maybe put into the chat where you're calling in from today. We would love to hear. We know we've got people registered from right across the world, actually, from China, Hong Kong, all the way across Europe, the Middle East, the United States, and also Australia, although it's going to be the middle of the night or maybe sort of 2 in the morning. So I'll be very impressed with that person joining us. So yeah, please do pop into the chat where you're joining us from, either your country or your spa. We would love to hear. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Mark. I'm the deputy editor at European Spa magazine. I'll be overseeing the proceedings today. We've got a number of speakers joining us. And it's all to celebrate the launch of the Platinum Resource 2024 from European Spa. So just a reminder, chat seems to be disabled. So we've got people putting into the Q&A. So thanks, Jackie. Maybe if we could enable the chat. Paula, thank you for alerting that. Eileen as well. And Jane. Hello, Jane. Hi, nice to see you. We're just going to see if we can rectify that, everybody. The chat's enabled, but I can update some people. So Sydney, thank you very much for joining us from France from the Waldorf Astoria. Really nice to see you, and thanks for registering. Paul is here from the UK, Jane from the UK, and Jackie as well. So the chat's been enabled. For those of you who are just joining in now, we'd love you to just let us know where you're joining from. We've got people from right across the globe, so really excited to have you all here. We've got over 300 people registered for the event today, so it's really, really exciting to have you all on board. We're just going to give a couple of more minutes to let people join in, and then we will get started. Hi, Anita, Sam. It seems that the chat's still showing disabled, I think. Yeah. So we've still got that. So people are putting some stuff into the Q&A, which is really, really useful for us to see. We'll just see if we can resolve that with the chat. The Q&A is also the place where you can put your questions. So we've got, for our speakers, if you've got specific questions you want to pose to them, put those into the Q&A. We can also then, we'll answer those at the end. So let's see if the chat's working. Let's see who can be the first one. Thanks, Tracy, Sam, great. Jackie, everyone. Abby, thanks for joining. Sophie from Ireland. Kazakhstan, welcome. More UK. Hi, Namisha, lovely to see you from India. That's really exciting. Florida, we're bringing sunshine. Romania, Cotswolds, lovely. Hi, Elena. Good to see you. Patricia, lots of love to you. Oh, this is really exciting. Hi, Owen from Singapore. Vladdy, I'm glad you got the link. That's good. Costa Rica, beautiful. Wow, this is really amazing. Hi, Anna from Sweden. From the Maldives, beautiful with the sunshine. Lassie, snowy Norway. So we've got all of the territories covered. We're really, really excited to have everybody. Ola from Portugal, that's really sweet. So we're all here to celebrate the launch of the Platinum Resource 2024. It's a project that we've been working on for, hi Lily from China, I'm glad you got the link, that's really great. The team have been working on it for many, many months. It's a project we're really excited about, and we're really pleased to present it to you here today. More people from Florida, wonderful. Dublin, lovely. So my name's Mark, Deputy Editor at European Spa magazine. I'll be overseeing the whole of the session today, introducing our speakers, We've got Sarah Camilleri, who's the founder, and she's also the editorial director of European Spa magazine. We're also going to be joined by Sue Harmsworth, who's an MBE. She's the founder and chair of the Standards Authority for Touch in Cancer Care. She's also the founder of Aspire as well. Many of you will have known her and heard her speak before. And we've also got Niamh O'Connell, who's joining us as the Vice President of Wellbeing at Jumeirah Hotels and Resorts. So if anyone has any specific questions they would like to pose, we're going to come back to those at the end of the session and put those into the Q&A. So that'll just come through to me. I can filter those through, and then I can come back to those right at the end. If they're very specific to one speaker, please put that, or we can just pose it to the panel as well. So we're just more greetings in. So thank you everybody for putting all those comments in. That really makes us smile. And hi to Caroline and Millie from Schloss Roxburgh, and they're one of our platinum spas, which is really exciting to see them here. So to start off with, we're going to pass over to Sarah Camilleri, who's the founder and editorial director of European Spa magazine. What I would also say just before that is, if you've got a pen and paper, grab those, keep them handy, because we've got a session at the end on intentions that I'm going to be leading, so you'll need a pen and paper for that. But without further ado, passing over to Sarah, and she's going to tell you all about the project, the Platinum Resource 2024, which we're really excited about. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Mark. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to join us for 1 hour out of your busy lives. As Mark said, this has been quite a project for us, and we're absolutely delighted to bring this book to industry. I want to start with a thought for everyone, because everyone that's here today in some shape or form is leading in spa and wellness. Now, whether you're on the supply side or the expertise side, or you're working in spas on the front line, the industry is massively booming. So the thought I wanted you to start the session with was really thinking about, oh, we've got crazy slides. Hang on a minute, that's not the thought. The thought is that, in my mind, spa and wellness are the highest form of hospitality. And why do I think that? Because for 20 years, I've been writing exclusively about spas from a business perspective. And I've been joined by a great team of people that help me. And that's what we do day in, day out, which is celebrate and champion the best concepts in the industry. So when you look at what the big brands are doing now and the best, they are following the lead of some of the pioneering spa brands that I was meeting at the very beginning. And I'm very thankful to have Sue here today and Niamh O'Connell, who are lionesses in our sector. You know, they've done so many different things to move the industry forward. Spa and hospitality and wellness and hospitality are complex and interesting right now. It's a very fast-moving landscape, even if it doesn't feel like that. And doing it well is something that I know that Sue and Niamh will touch on later on. But they really inspired last year a plan by me and the team to create a companion for spa business success. The whole book that we've put together is to help you and to guide you throughout the year. And we hope it will be your secret sauce. So, you know, we could have sat and written a book ourselves with a few interviews in, but we didn't want to do that because we think that the leadership in industry needs to be a community. And there's so much happening across the world. Every time I meet someone or interview someone, they've got something exciting to say. So, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a lot of people to drive an industry forward. And there's also the challenges of industry growth that we're all facing right now. So I think that the idea was to give a companion that would be precise and clear, and also give you some real expert content to delve into, food for thought, and stuff that will really help you get through your year for spa success. So we actually started the project way back in spring last year, and it's taken thousands of hours to put this together. We've asked lots and lots of experts to help us because we wanted to make sure that we didn't just do trends for trends' sake. We wanted to make sure that we didn't do a top-down book. We wanted to talk to industry about the shifts and challenges that matter for 2024. So we picked out 5 different types of features on topics that we think really matter this year. This slide is actually showing, we haven't got loads of slides for you, it's more about conversation. This one is actually about the importance of data. We know that data in today's world is key to everything, and understanding data is something that is really important for spa services. And although we're very much about people to people, you need to know your numbers, and you also need to know how the customer demand is changing. So I'm glad to say we've got some exciting people that have given us their expertise on that. Sustainable spa design was a top of mind topic, and we have some great architects and consultants from across the world who are behind some great projects helping us with this. Spa team retention, recruitment, and well-being for teams was also something we wanted to talk about. The rise of medical wellness and also the importance of cancer touch therapies was something that we were really keen to share intelligence on. So I'm sorry about the slides going a bit wild, but they're just the features. We also wanted to celebrate spa leadership in a big way, because I've heard so many times, where are the leaders of tomorrow with an expanding industry? Well, we know there's plenty of leaders out there, but we had to pick 10 for 24, which was quite difficult. I mean, Mark, Wendy, and I spent a lot of time debating this, and we wanted to choose 10 people who we feel are really championing spa development, operations, and leadership. And rather than just ask them to say, hello, well done, you've done this, we ask them to talk about a subject that's close to their heart. So rather than trends, it's more about shifts again. You know, what does Sue think about the spa world now? What does Neve think? And I'm so glad that they're both here with us today. 2 of them from our 10 are here today, and a few are on the call. So thank you for helping us. And, you know, we celebrate all the work you do each day to make the industry bigger and better. The other part of the book, which is really, really important, is the Spa Directory, where we're showcasing the super brands of spa. Now, the industry is often focused on what's happening in spas and the customer experience, but without the brands that are developing and innovating every single day, there's no spa without a whole army of people behind it. So we wanted to bring together a showcase of some of the excellent brands from all disciplines that could help you if you're looking to refurbish, refresh, or even build new spa operations. So please keep the book on your desk and talk to the experts that we've pulled together, because they really are worth talking to. Each company has worked on some significant projects, which you'll find in the book. I think that the last but not least is probably, we wanted to recognize excellence in spas, and we had a very tough choice to try and pick out 10 platinum spas for 2024. And each one is there for a very specific reason. I mean, excellence is the common theme, but also the idea that they have excelled in something and created something unique and special. So there could have been more than 10, because we see so many properties and meet so many great people. But we hope you enjoy our 10 platinum spas, and please take a look at them. They may not be like your operation, but you can learn something from everyone in industry, and that is the whole point of the Platinum Resource. So I have 2 wishes before I hand back over to Mark. Myself, I'd like to ask anyone that reads the Platinum Resource that feels inclined to give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you, because feedback will help us in future to get our content right. We hope you enjoy our magazines and daily news, because we're here for you, and keep us in touch with your news too, because it's really important for people to know what's happening out in industry so that they can remain inspired. My second wish is please share, because share the love. We're not charging anything for the book. The book is free to spa leaders all over the world, and we'd really love everyone to share the intelligence and all of the experts that have contributed in this year's edition. So if you'd like a link from us, please email and let us know, or share the link that you signed up with, and people we can send to them. But I'm sure Mark will help with the correct link for this. Anyway, I think I'm on time, Mark, so I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you very much. And my last thank you is a big thank you to the SPA PR company today for helping us, for Sue and Nee for coming, and to my amazing team for bringing this book together and working some very, very long hours to make it happen. So thanks everyone, and thanks for coming.
So I don't know if you saw that last screen, but everybody that's joined us for this session, including everyone that came to our in-person event, has been entered into a competition to win an overnight stay at the Mandarin Oriental Hyde Park in London for 2 people with breakfast, plus also the chance to experience their new health detox retreat that they've launched in partnership with Clinique La Prairie. So by turning up today, but just by showing up, you've been entered into that wonderful competition, because we partnered very closely with Mandarin Oriental Hyde Park in London for this launch event. It's also worth just reminding everybody that we have printed VIP copies, and they're going to be distributed at key events throughout the year: Spa Life Ireland, Hot Spa Forum in Paris, World Spa and Wellness Convention here in London. We're also going to be taking it to the Wellness Hospitality Congress in Italy. So there's a number of places, but you can get it online because it's free digitally as well. So it's on our website. But after the event, we will send you a link as well. But also, being signed up to our newsletter, you will see the news regularly throughout the year. And we'll be revisiting different elements of the content. So we're going to now turn to Sue Harmsworth, MBE, founder and chair of the Standards Authority for Touch in Cancer Care, also the founder of ESPA. I remember the first time I met and interviewed Sue, and I was very, very thrilled to meet her, and very excited as well. Also very nervous, I'll have to say. But Sue, in the icon piece that we had in the Platinum Resource, you talked about integrative wellness. Could I ask you how you would define integrative wellness?
Hello, everybody. So lovely to be here, and congratulations, Mark and Sarah, on the resource. It's fantastic. When I was thinking about this, because it is very, people are using the terminology, I think, very loosely. So I looked up on Wikipedia what integrative is defined as, and it's exactly what I think. So it says combining 2 or more things to make them more effective, or combining and coordinating diverse elements into a whole. So integrative wellness can take various sectors or modalities. And one of the things that I worry about is we haven't really defined, never mind defining integrative, we haven't really defined wellness yet. People are using wellness one minute, well-being another, lifestyle another, and spa. And I think if you're a spa and you're not doing elements of wellness, and by that I mean whether it's serious nutrition, acupuncture, IV, functional medicine, I mean, the list is endless. If you're not doing any of that, then why are you suddenly going from spa to wellness? So integrative to me, and I'm working on some amazing projects worldwide. I'm not really supposed to be working at all, but I think because not many people actually understand the medical side, the complementary health side, the spa side, the movement and fitness side, and how to bring it all together. Suddenly I'm doing brainstorms at a very high level, which gives me a huge insight to the various elements of medicine, complementary health, and I obviously already have a lot of background in complementary health and holistic health and so on and so forth. So I think if you want to call yourself an integrative wellness resort or practice or whatever it is, you have to really decide on what elements are making up that integrative approach to get an effective result. As you well know, most of you on this call, personalization is one of the biggest things that we're looking at for the future. Now, what we're talking about today won't be right for everybody, and I'm not suggesting it will. However, I do think that very high level integrative approach is the future. We're talking about prevention and the lifestyle diseases. I'm talking a lot about how we as an industry, whether you're a spa, a wellness destination, a wellness resort, can help public health and private health, how we can support the lifestyle diseases that are so prevalent. Integrative medical or health and medical is part of the future, and there are several under construction now. Everybody's struggling to define them. It's a challenge. And I think we have to always think about our guests and our consumer. The demographics are changing a lot, and I'm finding the younger generation are really looking for results. I think they're sorting out, if you like, all the hype and all the gurus coming in who haven't got a clue and just think they know about wellness or beauty or whatever it is because they do it themselves. They suddenly think they're an expert. I think we're getting much more discriminating about that. So for the future, I think some spas will be able to practice integrative wellness. And by that, I mean staying true to their roots. So I think the holistic side is going to be just as important as the science and the technology and the evidence stuff that we're coming up with. I mean, what I find exciting is the medical side is bringing us the funds to be able to do the research to get the evidence. And I'll give you an example of that. I was doing some, and tell me if I start to rabbit on too much, Mark, but we were doing some research to try and show how massage could help with mental health. And we were getting amazing results to the point that 50% of our clients, who were nurses, by the way, came off their meds completely. So their antidepressants completely. However, we couldn't get the funds to actually do that research piece that was suitable for government and NICE and so on and so forth. So, and I hope I'm not going too random, because if I go big picture future, I'm worried, not worried, because I think it could be a good thing. The medical side, if we're not careful, is going to completely overtake our industry because they've got the money. And they've suddenly, as you know, a lot of you, I've been in the industry over 50 years now, I can't believe it. And in the beginning, 30, 40 years ago, we couldn't get the medical profession to even believe what we were doing, whether it was massage or holistic treatments or whatever it was really hard with the doctors. And I was having to convince doctors to work in a health resort, for instance, and really understand the integrative approach. And I think going forward, what I'm seeing, both with the cancer piece that I'm working on, but also with all the lifestyle things like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and so on, Alzheimer's, I'm seeing the medical profession suddenly really becoming interested in our world. And this is a first. It's happened slowly, but there's now a real influx. And I'm working with doctors in the States and in Belgium and in Holland and here there in the UK, and they really want to know about our world. Well, of course, they've got the money. So it could be a very good thing. They're very open-minded, which is a new thing as well. So they're beginning to see that with the complementary health side. So with it, I mean, obviously with the cancer and non-recurrence in cancer, it's diet, it's exercise, it's sleep, it's all the things that we know. Same with Alzheimer's, same with type 2 diabetes. And we as an industry, whatever level we're at, can really help with this. But we mustn't lose our holistic side and our intuitive side. They've got to come together. The big worry is we don't have the therapists and we don't have the training. I'm going right back to basics, to colleges and things which I had nothing to do with before, so I'm just finding out about all of that. But if we don't start with continuous personal development that's got point system to it with our therapists, we're not going to be able to meet the guest demand, because we've got a higher expectation from the guest. We've got young therapists on a day-to-day basis having to deal with 80% of the guests with issues, and they just haven't got the skill set, you know, whether it's mental health, whether it's obesity, whether it's cancer, you know, there's just so many. And those young therapists, they haven't got the life skills. There's a lot of people in the industry really passionate about doing something about it, but we need to do more, and we need to do more postgraduate work, and we need to give them career development so that they can go far, you know, over a period of years, obviously, but so that they can go much more into the nutrition side, the complementary health side, whatever it is they choose and whatever route they go. And I know in education they're trying to do it, but it's a slow process, and we really have, if we want success for our industry going forward, we have to solve that training issue and retention of therapists and growing them as individuals.
And it's something that we hear all of the time. And I know the work that you do with the SATCC, there's also an education element and the educational focus there as well. Maybe you'd just like to have a few closing comments on the work you're doing there.
Well, that's going berserk, thank goodness. But any spa directors, general managers, whoever out there, please, please, please get your therapists trained. So we've launched our new website, which is satcc.co.uk. So take a look. We've got about 10 training providers, some of who work internationally, some of them, and they've all been approved and very thoroughly vetted. There's a lot of information on there, but I think as an industry, with 1 in 2 people going to be touched by cancer, I hate to moralize, but we really have a moral obligation to train our therapists not to be afraid. A lot of it's fear. And what we're finding is they have to be level 3 to do the training. So they've got, you know, they've got to have got, so they're back to CPD, continuous personal development. They have to be level 3 entry. And I've got the same worry as I have for massage courses and all the rest of it. There's a lot of people trying to get on the bandwagon because they see it's the right thing to do, and doing short courses, which is actually doing more damage than good. But what we're seeing with the therapists, when they do the Touch for Cancer training, they're much more empowered across their whole knowledge. It's not just cancer. They're much more confident, their empathy goes up, they're just much better therapists. And then they also feel they can really help people, which is what therapists are all about, really. They love to help people. But no, the SATC is going a bit mad. So have a look, and if we can help anybody out there, then please do get in touch. We'd love to help.
Brilliant. And there's also an entry about the SATCC in the Platinum Resource, and there's a whole feature on working with people who are going through cancer from a therapy point of view. Sue's got comments in there, and some of the training providers are there too. Sue, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your time and your insights.
Pleasure.
And now we're going to turn to Niamh O'Connell, who is the Vice President of Wellbeing, Jumeirah Hotels and Resorts. Also one of our icons from the Platinum Resource. And Niamh wrote about luxury guest experience in the spa. So Niamh, for everyone that's joined us today, how do you create that luxury guest experience in the spa?
Thanks, Mark and Sarah. And just sorry to allude to the reference that we were talking earlier about the resource manual being your companion on your desk. I think that is something that is it's so profound because we all have so much knowledge in the industry, and to be able to share it across the field, I think that's part of our social responsibility to our industry. And so to go back to your question, how do we create a luxury experience? I think alluding to what Sue said, and our customers are much more sophisticated today, and they are coming into our locations with a profound wealth of knowledge, and it is our responsibility to ensure that our teams are actually trained and educated so that they can keep up to date and up to speed with what our consumers are learning and what they're aware of. So when it comes into executing experiences within your spa environment, I think it's very important to look at all of the touch points. So first of all, you could start with your hardware, for example, and identify what are those journey experiences and what is the engagement of the design within the guest experience. This is all very subconscious for the guest. So for example, when they're coming to your front door to enter your facility, is this a push or is it a turn? What's that experience for the guest? Is it much nicer and gentler to push the door open versus to have to twist your wrist? And these, again, are things that when you work with, amazing architects and designers around the world, you're already thinking through these processes as you walk through the spaces. What's the experience on the floor? What's the sound I'm having? What's the sensation on my feet? What's the lighting consultant doing with me in terms of establishing the mood and decompressing the stress level of the consumer as they walk through the spaces? So these are more of the hardware things that you can integrate into your guest experience. But if hardware is not something that's going to be appropriate for you to consider at the time, then I think it's really down to our tools, which is our operations. And this refers back to our teams, because ultimately our teams are there to execute the guest experience and to understand what their guest needs. And I think it's very important that we're really authentic in the experiences that we're going to offer to the guest. So again, as Sue, mentioned there, be as authentic as you can in the experience that you're delivering. Avoid the wellness washing. Understand who your customer is. Target them with what you feel what you know from the data that you've received that your customer is going to actually gravitate towards, and then stay true to that. When you're looking at staying true to being your philosophy and your concept, again, it comes down to your team, hiring the best people that are available, but also investing back into those team members. Because if you're educating them, you're developing their knowledge base. You're giving them the confidence that Sue referred to within their programs. And that in turn is then instilling a sense of confidence in the consumer when they come in to have their treatment within your facility. And, this turns into a repeat guest. So it's a circle of life, basically, as to how you create that ongoing experience for your associates, but also for your consumer. And then I think looking at your partners, who do you partner with to ensure that you're going to be able to deliver what your mission of your brand is? And that goes from everybody, who your product house is, down to who your software providers are, because you all have to be aligned in terms of what that mission is and what your delivery expectations are for your guest experience. So I think that's just a very short overview of some of the components that are involved in delivering an experience.
Amazing. And lovely that you referenced the importance of your therapists and your team at delivering that and making that connection with the guest, because they're the people that can make or break a guest experience, irrespective of what kind of facilities you have around you. Absolutely. Now, you've talked about weaving well-being through the whole guest journey on the property or in a resort. Not just in the spa, which is a really lovely idea. How can you bring this about? How can you make this happen?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're really working very hard on here in Jumeirah, because we believe that your well-being isn't isolated, right? It's not just for the 60 or the 90 minutes that you come to visit us in our spa locations, but it's actually throughout the duration of your stay. And in fact, taking it one step further back, it's before you even come to see us or stay with us. This is at your seating, at the seating part of your journey, where the guest is thinking about, where will I go on my holidays? So how can I make that experience as stress-free as possible for the guest? So the well-being journey of the guest starts from the booking process. So how easy are we making that process for the guest? How can we make it easy for example, if we take a young family who's coming on holiday to see us in Dubai, for example, then how can we make sure it's easy for the parent to go through that whole pre-holiday planning of, oh my God, what am I going to pack? Do I have to pack this? Do I have to pack that? What does the hotel have available for that family that they don't need to worry about? For their journey coming to the hotel, what are we going to be able to engage or provide for that young family to ensure that it's, you know, as smooth and as comfortable as possible, keeping the children entertained. And then when they arrive to the resort, what is that family check-in experience? They may be wary travelers. We want to engage with the children to ensure that they feel that they're having a special experience on the check-in. So these are just small touch points that, again, aren't necessarily related to spa, but they are related to alleviating stress. And stress is also going to contribute to your well-being. And then looking at how we can do this, we're looking at the overarching guest experience. And I think from my experience and my career thus far, it's one of my favorite parts of journey planning. And that's where you take a step back for a moment and you take the life of the day in the life of the guest and go to your property and go through it as you would as if you were a guest for the very, very first time. And you'd probably see quite a few things that you think you're doing, but actually are not occurring in your property or in your spa location. So for example, if you talk about the sleep experience when I'm in my room, you know, do I have any flashing lights on the roof? Is the blue light from the TV monitor pointing at my bed? How can you enhance any of these journeys? Can you provide them with any extra amenities to enhance their sleep experience? What are your wet amenities? Is that speaking to your sustainable story? Is it also speaking to your spa story as well in terms of relaxation and soothing? And I think as well, then when you look at the, if we take it out of the bedroom and you go through the resort, what are the activities that you've planned throughout the resort? These would be, some of them are going to be they're going to be chargeable, some of them are going to be complimentary, but are they all catered for elevating that guest experience, but for elevating your sense of well-being? Do I have moments where I can have peace and quiet and read my book? Do I have moments where I could do some meditation? Do I have moments where I can engage with the local community, and so on? So I think it's important to do your own journey and be guided by, you know, I think all of us in hospitality who are on the call, we all know we have journey maps from the pre-arrival to the post-departure, because it's important for us to ensure that from the pre-arrival we're setting the stage for the customer, but then for post-departure we want to maintain our relationship with that customer so that they become a loyal guest of ours and that they're anchored to our brand, basically.
Fantastic. And I love that idea that you talk about connecting people with their location. And that's something you also mentioned in the feature. So maybe just a couple of closing comments about why it's important to connect your guests with their location and how can we do this with ease?
Yeah, I think it's something critically important because it's part of your lifelong learning, and how you continue to gain knowledge is by traveling and by engaging with other cultures and understanding what are the unique elements of this culture that you haven't experienced before. So it may be wellness rituals, it may be food and beverage experiences, it could be the flora and the fauna of the location. And in some hotels, we're able to integrate that by bringing experts or by bringing specialists from certain areas into the hotel from the local community, but also in terms of bringing guests out to experience the local community from a cultural reference as well. So whether it's going to be day tours or unique experiences in to see artists, or again, like specialists who pottery locations, anything that can expose you. I think that's the beauty of learning and sharing knowledge. And also it makes the world a smaller place because you're going to find, in some occasions, you're going to find a lot of similarities between the cultures and say, oh, that was like when I went to Costa Rica, or that was like when I went somewhere else. So it's engaging with that local culture and not being isolated within your own culture.
Amazing. And the joy of wellness travel.
The joy, well, I think it's, you know, that is the great thing about wellness. When Sue mentioned, you know, it's such a broad topic, it is, because, you know, your well-being is influenced by everything. So the practices of wellness is what is responsible for your well-being. And if we can engage with our communities and with society with that positive approach, then that's going to lift us all up and not just an individual.
Fantastic, Niamh. Thank you so much. That's really
Thanks, Mark.
wonderful. Really appreciate it. So now, everyone, we've got, that's not quite homework, but we've got a little activity. So make sure you've got a pen and some paper. If you don't, you could do this on your phone. What some of you may know, but some of you probably don't, is that I'm also a mindfulness teacher. So in addition to the work I do at European Spa, I lead meditation classes and courses right across the UK. I have led business retreats in Spain, teaching spas, and also run sessions on the beach. So what we thought today we could do is a very short intention setting exercise. Now, this is not your grand resolutions. You might have made those at the beginning of the year, your New Year's resolutions. You will already have your business goals set out, financial planning. This isn't really anything to do with those, but what we're going to explore will help you to achieve them, hopefully. And it's going to be about how you deal with your heart, mind, and emotions, how you act and react. So just for a couple of minutes, if I could get you to settle into your chair. You don't need to close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths in your own time, breathing in through the nose, right deep into the belly, expanding the tummy, and again out through the nose. Just 3 beautiful deep breaths. Maybe it's the first time you've stopped, paused, and taken a moment to be still today. Notice the connection of your body with the chair that's supporting you. And what does that feel like? Just sensing into the present moment, enjoying the peace and a moment of tranquility. And now I'd like you just to think about what you should have left behind in 2023. The things that no longer serve you. Maybe they're bad habits, arguments, regrets. Maybe just make a note of 1 or 2 of these things, or however many you feel that it's time to let go. Considering the things that no longer serve you. And then just take a look at that list. Perhaps let's consider leaving those things in January, putting them behind us, letting go. You might like to visualize letting them go. It could be that they're floating away like a balloon, melting away like ice. But some of those more sticky ones, the more challenging ones, it could be that you write them on a piece of paper. You can put them into the bin, you could rip them up. It's just a little symbolic act of letting go. And maybe see how that feels. And then again, with your pen and paper, You could do this in long form writing or just some bullet points. Consider how you will bring kindness and compassion to your life this year. What can you do to be gentle with yourself? How can you give yourself a break? Maybe how can you soften the inner critic in your head? What can you do to bring kindness and compassion to your life this year? And those bullet points could be a small action plan, not just for the month ahead, but for the rest of the year. And to conclude, I'd just like you to rest upon one thing you can do today to bring wellness into your life. And it doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It just needs to be something that connects with your heart. And makes you feel good. That makes you feel well. And then the challenge is to do that, not just to leave it on a piece of paper. So that's just a very short exercise in intention setting to conclude our launch event for the Platinum Resource 2024. Now, we do have some time for some questions. If you'd like to pop those into the Q&A section, I can filter those and I can pass them on to our panelists. So we would love to have some questions. We've got time. Thank you. That's lovely. Those notes are really kind. Intention setting is really powerful. It's a session I ran with my class very recently, and it really connected with people. Just taking time to think about what can we let go. We carry so much. We carry so much with us. Most of it's on our back, weighed down like suitcases, and a lot of it we don't need to hold on to. But we do have questions, so yeah, please do share those. And let me just update this. I don't think I've seen any more pop in. Okay, to Sue, a question from Anna Kari in Sweden. Do you see that recorded, filmed, practical training is good enough? Great question.
Yeah. How do I answer that one? I think post-pandemic, we all learned that is this what I'm talking about? Online training, pre-recorded?
Yes, yeah, pre-recorded.
I think online training has a huge part to play. However, the danger is that we go too far from the practical side and the touch side, especially with the younger therapists. And thank you, Mark, for doing that session. I go back to teaching therapists breathwork, 20, 30 years ago, you know, and incorporating breath work into our treatments. And I think all of that skill can't be taught online. I think online has its place for theory, for updates, for making sure that the therapist can ask it's therapists, it's business instructors, it's right across the board, it's different modalities. And different modalities, I had the most amazing conversation with Professor Anna Campbell yesterday, which a lot of you may know, about what she's been doing with the physiotherapy and fitness side. And we were discussing about updates and how often we can do training, and understanding that at the same time, all of you have to make money and be commercial. And by the time you're finished with your health and safety training and your product training and so on and so forth, it's very difficult to have the therapists out so much. And so I think online training has a place, but it's more as a refresher for theory, for updates. But when it comes to practical and, if you like, case histories and things like that, I still think we need the practical side more and more because of the short courses. So we're dealing with therapists who, and I hate to say it, we're dealing with therapists who are at a lower starting point. So that's why the practical side is more important, as important or more important, but online has its place.
Right. And actually, Sue, this is sort of picking up on a point in your talk. Isabel Stockdale has asked, she says, there are a lot of issues facing the sector, have been ongoing for many years. There doesn't seem to be many improvements. There are more and more colleges closing courses. How can the industry come together to make changes?
I think we have to take much more ownership of our own training, which isn't to say college. I mean, I don't want to be seen as critical, okay? So this is what I think is constructive. I think a lot of the college training is not relevant to the real life industry anymore. I think they're often spending time on the wrong things. And when I still owned ESPA, the postgraduate work we did was technical, it wasn't product. And I think at the moment, too many spas are relying on their product houses for their training. And back to this CPD, continuous personal development, somebody asked me just recently, should it be mandatory? And I hate to say things should be mandatory, but in a way it should, because that's the only way that we're going to get the growth and the retention from the therapists and empower them and make them higher skilled. So I think we have to take more ownership of it, you know, in-house training, train the trainer. I mean, the problem with that is maintaining the standard. And there's several of us on the SATCC advisory board and trustees who are really having a go at the industry at the moment. And we're not, you know, I hope we're not getting a bad reputation for it, but it's got to happen. If we don't start with colleges and we don't start and get the bases right, and as I said earlier, the problem is they're coming into the spa world at a much lower level than they were 5-10 years ago, and so so you're almost having to upskill them to start to do the postgraduate stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if that's helpful enough, but I think it's training, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mark, can I jump in here? I think it's really important what Sue said, that, you know, we do have to put some of the onus back on the colleges, because, you know, we are businesses. We do have to make the commercials work at the end of the year, at the end of the month, at the end of the week. So I think also by putting the onus back on the college, we should also be taking the responsibility as employers to look at the pay scale and also look at this as a profession where these individuals have been studying for many, many years to achieve a certain level. And then based on the level, they need to be remunerated on that. So I think there's two avenues to work in at the same time for this opportunity to elevate the education and elevate the remuneration of these individuals as well, because that's what's going to keep them within the industry. and also to ensure that we as the employers are then continuously driving them to evolve and to learn more and to go into further education while they're with us as well. Which, yes, I know we're doing that in business, but it's long term.
I totally agree with Niamh on the remuneration side. And the point that I hope we agree on is we're not remunerating our skilled therapists enough compared to the base level. And so remuneration is an added tool to grow them, so that if you take them from a base level and then you add postgraduate modules of whatever kind, and their salary goes up accordingly, and then you've got those brilliant therapists, you know, rare, I know, but really brilliant, who should be on a much higher pay scale. And that, unfortunately, because often with hotel spas in particular, and Niamh knows much better than me, HR they're looking at level across the hotel. They're not looking at that talent that they've got.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic and debate, but I think it's one that needs to be taken seriously and driven forward by the leaders within their positions, be that spa directors, people like myself, and of course you as well, Sue, that we can really advocate for this.
Fantastic. Thank you both very much. We've had one question. Is there a list of criteria to be considered for the Platinum Resource 2025? So you have to impress Sarah, Wendy, and myself. But what I will always suggest is, if you've got news, please send it to us, because we can then decide whether it's relevant for the online channel, for our digital magazine, which is quarterly, or the Platinum Resource. We're already planning to start visiting projects and properties across Europe for our Platinum list of spas, and we started that planning already. We've also had another question from Nigel. Are there any thoughts for more of these European spa webinars, podcasts? Well, Nigel, that's a very interesting thought there, because there are some thoughts around that, because we've been so overwhelmed with the response. It is something we're starting to think about, and we'll keep you posted. So watch this space. We're coming right up to 4 o'clock. We're conscious that everyone's got other things to be off doing, work, finishing the day. For some people, they finished their day. So Niamh, thank you very much for joining us toward the end of your day. Sue, thank you very much for joining us from the sun. Please enjoy the sunset. I'm sure there'll be a lovely one this evening. Sarah in Malta, so it's very international, because Niamh is in the Middle East. So Sarah, thank you as well.
Yes,
And
thank you to everyone for coming, and to you, Mark, for hosting, and Niamh and Sue for just like showing up and being with us on this such a special launch. Thank you.
yeah, we really appreciate it. And to everyone that's put the comments in, it's been really, really joyful to see everybody. And yeah, thank you just to everybody for being here. And as Sarah said, showing up. It's wonderful to see all your comments. Now, we will be sending out a link. You've probably seen the resource already, but we will send a link that'll come from the Spa PR company, so that you can read the digital edition. You can also download it as well via issue, so you've got like a permanent copy. But keep coming back to it. And again, thank you everybody. It's a real joy. So we'll let a few more of these thank you messages come through before we close up. But thank you again. And keep in touch. Tell us your news. We love to celebrate your stories. Some people are a little bit shy, and they feel that it's not worthy. But please do tell us, because there's always something interesting to tell, and something interesting to say, because there's so many innovative properties and people doing great things. So that's going to conclude the session. We're going to close it out now, but thank you again, everybody. Thank you for your message, Elena, Sylvia, Laura, Jennifer. Oh, it's wonderful. And there's Wendy's email as well, for anyone who hasn't seen. I'll hold on just for a moment or two. You can get all of our emails on our website, but there's Wendy's. She's our news editor, so you can collect that, but just find it all on our website as well. Thank you so much. So Spa PR team, thank you. You can close that out, and thank you very much.
Bye.